Well, you've made it to the last speaker of the day, right? I'm Fritz. I'm glad to be here with you today, and I appreciate you staying to get the last speech out of us that we can get. I'm going to ask a few questions. First off, how many of you are safety professionals? Lots of safety professionals. Okay, so I have a saying that if the safety department runs the safety program, it will fail. How many of you agree with that? Yet you're safety professionals. What we have to do is we have to engage the workforce. Now, I've sat here and I've listened to quite a few of the speeches today, and I've heard about how do we engage people more? How do we have people be more accountable? How do we have people be more responsible? How do we put people in charge of their own health and safety? And all of these things that people have talked about are wonderful. We've got some great software solutions. We've got AI solutions. There's all kinds of great systems and processes in place. But when we talk about safety, we want to talk about safety a little bit different. We call this change your safety language because that's exactly what we want you to do, is to change the way that you talk about safety. First off, is safety the prevention of accidents? What is it?
For me, it's the presence of safety.
Exactly. So if we're preventing accidents is the lagging indicator. If we are measuring accidents as whether or not we are safe, then we're measuring the lagging indicator. We need to be measuring what's the activity that we have at the front part that causes people to work safely. So when we talk about safety, we really have to talk about that intersection, at the point where someone has a decision to make, whether their decision is safe or whether the decision is unsafe. That's really where we can engage a change in behavior. Now, we've all heard the term behavioral-based safety, right? Behavioral-based safety is all about what do I do to keep myself safe. So in order to understand behavioral-based safety, the first thing we have to understand is our people. I believe there are only two things that separate any organization from their competition. And those two things are the promises they make or the products that they make, and the people that they hire to fulfill those promises. Every KPI is delivered to every company by a frontline worker. Every KPI is delivered by a frontline associate. We must put every fiber of our being into protecting the greatest asset of any organization, which is their frontline worker. And until we start talking about how do we protect people on the front line, we're talking about safety in the wrong way. And that's why I say if the safety professionals run the safety program, it will fail. So in order to engage those people, we have to know those people. Now, I started in a factory when I was 19 years old as a production welder. And I moved to a different company, the Nestle Corporation. I went to work for them as a forklift operator, hourly associate. And I moved up through the ranks to an hourly lead person, and then to a team leader, which is the first part of management, and then to a department manager, and to a shift manager, and to a factory manager, and I'm CEO of the company now. All along the way, the most difficult job that I ever had was that of a frontline leader. The frontline leader is truly between the rock and the hard place. The frontline worker brings all of their problems, their life, their schedule, all of their priorities with them, and we have to get them to perform. The company comes with all of their priorities, all their KPIs, their need for profitability and everything else, and they push that down to the frontline leader. And somehow the frontline leader has to navigate those two essential components of getting the people to do what they need them to do and to meet the expectations of their organization. So in order to do that, we get all of our work done through other people. How you treat your frontline leaders and how you engage your frontline leaders is so much more important than what you're doing to engage your front line. Yet that seems to be the step that we walk past. I've been in many organizations. I've consulted to over 100 different operations throughout the United States, a little bit in Europe. And every place I go, they expect the frontline leader to follow suit, to do what they're supposed to do. And they push things off onto either the frontline people, the frontline workers, or the leadership of the organization, the factory manager, the shift managers, and so on. And the frontline leader is kind of the person that's caught between that rock and the hard place with given the task of making everything work. So how do we get them to understand that their people are their most important component? Well, it starts with making them your most important component. How you treat the frontline leader is how they are going to treat their people. You're giving them a roadmap on how you believe people should be treated by the way you treat them. So let's change our safety language just a little bit. Instead of saying safety is the prevention of accidents, or safety is a program that we use for ergonomics, or safety is a way that we do training and certification in that, let's change it. Physical safety is one part of it, but I like to call things the three fronts of safety. The first front of safety, the reason why people show up, is number one, finances. Financial safety is the reason people come to work for us. If they don't feel that financial safety, you're not going to get the best out of them. Also, they will take risks if they don't feel financial safety. You know what your people will do to keep your lines running, to keep your process moving? Do you know the hoops that they will jump through? You know, I've seen people do things that were completely unsafe, all because they felt like this will make my company profitable. And if the company's profitable, my job will be secure. So financial safety is the reason they show up. Physical safety, that's what we owe them. And we've talked about physical safety a lot through this program. We'll talk a lot about that through tomorrow as well. We owe them that physical safety, but we're pretty good at that. We need to figure better ways to manage it and stuff, but we're pretty good at understanding and recognizing the physical safety part of it. The third front of safety is emotional safety. What does emotional safety look like? Well, if I feel like I'm listened to, I'm cared for, and I'm a part of something, then I feel emotionally safe. But if I don't feel like I'm listened to, I don't feel like I'm cared for, and I don't feel like I'm a part of the team, I don't have that emotional safety. And without that emotional safety, you're not going to get everything from me. In fact, I'm going to hold back things. I'm just going to do my job and look for another one. So how do we impose upon the frontline leaders to better listen to their people? Well, it starts with their way that they develop relationships. And that comes from a priority of caring about the individuals who work for them more than we care about the KPIs that we measure on a daily basis. You don't have to tell people, we've got to keep this line running, we've got to keep the work moving. You don't have to tell them that. They know that. You know what they don't know? Is how important am I? Am I just another number? Am I just someone that if I leave, you'll replace me tomorrow? When we listen to people and we understand who they are and why they're here, then we can truly open the door for building a better relationship. So I get to consult all over the place. I'm on an airplane almost every week. I travel all around the country. I travel into Europe. And I've got this kind of weird obsession with listening to music and things like that. When I get on the plane, I have a ritual. I sit down, I put my headphones on. Well, once in a while, there'll be somebody sitting next to me, and they'll introduce themselves, and we'll shake hands or something, and we'll exchange some pleasantries. Just a few weeks ago, I sat next to a gal, and she told me that she worked at a hospital, and my wife works at a hospital, and so I asked her what she did. And for about 10 minutes, we had a little bit of a conversation, and then our headphones went on. We flew from Salt Lake City to New York, to JFK, and didn't speak another word. By contrast, a few weeks before that, I was flying to Nashville. And so as I said, I really like to listen to music. I'm kind of a music fan, and I've played guitar since I was about this tall. And a lot of my shirts that I have a guitar name on them, or a company name, or a band name, or something like that. Well, that particular day, I was wearing a shirt that says Collings Guitars. Now, if there are any guitarists in the audience, you'll know what that is. If you're not a guitarist, a Collings guitar is a very specific handmade guitar made in Austin, Texas, one guitar at a time. This company puts out 250 guitars a year, and that's it. And I own one. So I got on the airplane, I sat down, I have my Collings Guitars shirt on, and this gentleman sits down next to me, and he points at my shirt, and he says, "Do you have a Collings?" I said, "Yeah, I do." And he says, "Which one?" I said, "It's a D2H." And we got talking about guitars. We talked all the way to Nashville. I learned that he was a session musician. I learned that he was married and had 2 children. He learned about me. We exchanged numbers and we're friends on Facebook. Because we found some common ground, our conversation went easy. Well, too often in the workforce, we don't think we have common ground with people. So let me ask you all a question right now, and I want a verbal answer to this question. Today, in your organization, how many people should be hurt? None? Tomorrow, how many people should be hurt in your organization? The next month, how many people should be hurt in your organization? No one should be hurt at work, right? If I polled everybody from your organization in this room and I asked them that question, how many people should be hurt at work today? They would say no one should be hurt at work. Folks, we have common ground. We have something that we can hang our hat on and say, I believe what you believe. You have a Collings guitar. We all agree that no one should be hurt at work. So let's use safety to open up that conversation. Let's use physical, financial, and emotional safety to be the reason that we're talking about anything in the workplace. How many of you believe that safety is your highest priority? Okay, I don't want to work for any of you. What is your highest priority? It's profitability, is it not? If you're not profitable, you're not going to be around long. So let's quit talking about safety being a priority. It's not a priority. Safety should be a value that we refuse to compromise in the name of our priorities. Only when we make it a value that we refuse to compromise can we talk about safety in the right frame. When we say safety is our highest priority and we tell that to our frontline workers, they say, BS. I know what your highest priority is. It's profitability, because every time you come out here and the production line's down, the first thing you ask me is, why is the line down? Let's change our safety language. Instead of asking why the line is down, let's walk out there and say, is everyone okay? Was anyone hurt? Think about the shift that that makes in a person's mind. Just the difference between why are we down and is everyone okay? That small change tells that person you care about them more than you care about the line. And you know what they're going to tell you? Everyone's okay. This is why we're down. They're going to answer the question that you wanted to ask. Now, what's the next question you should ask them? How can I help? How can I help? They know the line needs to run. Don't ask them when we're going to be back up, who's working on this, all that kind of stuff. Ask, how can I help? And they will tell you how you can help. When you are there as a resource to your frontline workers, you are keeping your people safe through your actions and through your words. We have a saying that I am what I do today, and I teach it to everybody in our classes by having them tap their fingers together and say, I am what I do today. And we talk about how important everything that you do is. It's more important than what you say. It's more important than what you hope. It's more important than what you put on your statement of purpose. It's what you do that shows your people whether you care or not. And when the first thing you ask someone is, why are we down? They know you don't care. Even though you feel like you do. Your people are going to get the work done. You've got to trust them to do their jobs. But you've got to prove to them that you want to listen to them, you're going to care about them, and they are a part of your team. You guys ever worked with people you don't like? You have somebody in your mind right now, don't you? It's like, oh yeah. You know what? You don't have to like the people you work with. But you have to love them. And love is a verb. It means to serve. And that is not a choice. That is not a decision that you can bypass. If you can't love the people that you work with, then get rid of them. Find others. But your job as a safety professional, as a leader, as a business owner, as a frontline leader, is to make sure that you love your people by listening to them, by showing them that they're cared for, and by making sure that they understand that they are a part of your team and you want them there. Are there people that are hard to love? Sure. But that's your job. That's our job. If we truly want to keep people safe, that's what we have to do. So that requires us to, as we say, change your safety language. let's start making our people our highest priority, because people deliver our profitability. People deliver our quality. People deliver our safety results. Everything gets done through people. So let's make people our number one priority and safety a value that we refuse to compromise. Folks, I've been every level throughout from hourly associate all the way up to CEO. And as I said earlier, that frontline leader is the hardest job. If there's nothing else that you take out of this today, if there's nothing else you learn from me, learn that those frontline leaders are your company. You've heard the saying, people don't quit their company, they quit their manager, they quit their boss. Well, you are relinquishing the company name to your frontline leader. So you need to make sure that those people know that you listen to them, you care about them, and they are a part of your team. Make your frontline leaders as important as you want your frontline workers to be. Just change your safety language. Start making it a value, not a priority. Make your people your priority. With that, I will leave you, and thank you for staying. And I know it's the last talk of the day, so those of you who stayed, I really appreciate you staying. Thank you very much.